What is up, everybody? You're live with the project. Another great report, and man, I am very, very honored and just happy for talk about something in wrestling for once. As you can see on the thumbnail, what we're going to talk about today, and man, what a great moment! Congratulations to this man's family. We also gonna have some negative things to talk about because most of wrestling's negative right now. But anybody that know me know I'm a balanced reporter. If it's something good, I'll report it good. If it's bad and it needs constructive criticism, we'll give it that. I'm not one of those, it has to be this way, it has to be that way all the time. No, I go based off what things are, the way they need to be reported, based off adjustments. Like I can say something I used to like was good and say it's bad, and later on say something I like thought was bad and say it's good. It's all about balance and you know what I mean, duality and being a open-minded person. Change is constant, man. You're always learning, you're growing, and you redeveloping your skills. If you're not growing and changing, you're not. And speaking of which, I'm growing and changing because I got somebody that wants to sponsor me, and that is Poggers. DrinkPoggers.com. If you have a problem sleeping, if you're trying to get recovery after a workout, because a lot of people just lay down after a workout and like, I'm still sore. What are you doing to get your body back relaxed? You know, what type of supplements are you taking? What type of fruit are you eating? For example, bananas. You know, they got some health supplements. And I'm one of those people that if you don't like something, this is a startup company, so I want to really support them. They support a lot of Twitch gamers, especially smaller channels, which I'm kind of small on Twitter, but not on Twitch. So I like this stuff. If you have a problem with what they're doing, suggest change. I expect something to change you don't like. And sometimes they don't know. They think people like what they got unless you give them feedback. Or people that's hating, they don't know that you dislike something if you don't tell them. So suggest stuff. I'm more of a liquid supplement person. They have powders. Powders aren't bad. It's not really my jam. But I know the berry one they have is popular. They're working on an orange one. The cream one is popular. So they got some good supplements. Go check that out at drinkpoggers.com. Hey, and we got something even special for you. If you use my code, which is Prodigy Poggers, I'm big on alliteration. I made it easy for you. Prodigy's Poggers, you get 10% off. It's not a scam. I will pop it up, but I pop it up on multiple videos. And I got other stuff that set up that I want to move right now for this video. But yeah, use that code Prodigy Poggers to get 10% off on whatever product. I would suggest you get the mixer to start off, the shaker, the cup. You know, it has the spring there, the ball, typical stuff. That's pretty good. I love the logo. Shout out to the artist. I forget his name, but everybody know the August with the frog, the silly looking frog, kind of insinuating that he might be high or something. If I had to guess, I probably got that guy was like an experimental artist, probably into marijuana and stuff like that. So definitely check that out. And once you do that, let me know that you did it so I can shout you out online. It's all about building up. You have to work every day if you want to be successful. As you can see, I do multiple videos a week. And don't get impatient. A lot of people get impatient. Oh, it's not taking off the way I want to. Things take time. Success take times. All the top billionaires in the world right now, they become billionaires overnight, unless they were born into money, which most people in this world aren't. So keep working. You'll get there. Stay positive. Stay away from negative energy and keep living your vision. You know, people are going to drop off along the way. That's just part of it. It's called growing. Remember I said earlier, change is constant. And if anybody else, Red Bull Monster, you want to support me, I have a top combat sports channel online, especially with people like JoJo, the phenomenal JoJo and Mike Copenhaver. Go win yourself some money. I have a show every Friday, Cope's Corner, every Friday on YouTube. That's Copes with a K, Kopes, Corner with a K, Cope's Corner. So get yourself some good stuff over there. Without further ado, man, I am just honored. I'll end with SmackDown because it's more negative news. I'm going to start off with some positivity. Rey effing Mysterio, Boyaka 619, the man from behind many faces, many masks, the 619 San Diego native stand-up. It is official, the first official announcement to the WWF 2023 Hall of Fame. WWE, correction, I'm sorry. I wish it was WWF. Their quality of writing was better. Rey Mysterio is going into the Hall of Fame. And this makes me happy on a lot of different fronts. Rey Mysterio is the greatest cruiserweight wrestler ever with a capital E and an exclamation point at the end. The greatest cruiserweight. They have not replaced him yet. And when he was gone for WWE for a while, he was gone for like 5 years in the mid 2000s. It was very noticeable. The lack of cruiserweight quality was very noticeable on Rey Mysterio. What a resume. Starting wrestling in Catholic churches when he was 14, 15 years old in Mexico. He finally gets his break in the United States in the mid 90s, thanks to Paul Heyman and Conan. In the mid-90s, he takes off with great feuds like Psychosis, Juventud Guerrera, Eddie Guerrero, Jericho, Perry Saturn, all these great cruiserweights, Tajiri, super crazy. What a career. Then he comes to WWE, has a great program with everybody he works with, from John Cena to Randy Orton to, Kurt Angle. What a phenomenal feud he had with him. Then one-off matches with people like Shawn Michaels, Kane, Had a great feud later in his career with Dave Bautista, reinvigorated Dave Bautista's career, gotten over every Latino and Mexican performer you can ever think of that's ever had the, honor or graciousness to get in the ring with him. So what a great man this man Rey Mysterio is. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate him early on. Maybe I was one of them. When he won the world title, I was kind of like, But at the time, if you see what they had on SmackDown, you can get why they did that. Speaking of SmackDown, when you think of SmackDown, he's one of the top tier SmackDown vets ever. Keep in mind, SmackDown is barely 20 years old in WWE. It just made 20 in 2019. It's not a very old product because Raw is 10 years older, 7 years older. But they haven't had a lot of great moments. And a lot of the great moments they had was Rey Mysterio was involved. He was one of the few, I would say, like 7 to 8 talents that were involved. And he was definitely on top of the list of the 7 to 8 talents that were involved in this particular match. So, just let people know you can chat with me always at It's TJ Time 1991 on Twitter. It's TJ Time 1991 on Twitter. That's all lowercase letters. ITS TJ, the word time, 1991 on Twitter. Or on YouTube at TJ the Prodigy. Also, all lowercase letters. That's TJ DA, the word Prodigy. And we can always have a chat about something, even after the broadcast and post-production, however you want to say it. We can always have a conversation. So Rey Mysterio, great legend. When he's involved, when he's not involved with something, is very noticeable. Right now, he's having a great program with Karrion Kross on a very just one storyline SmackDown. They only have the bloodline that's worth investing time in as far as stories. Matches don't mean anything to me, people. I've been around and seen some of the greatest matches ever. These matches today don't compare. They're not even on the surface of what great matches Eddie Guerrero and Edge and Kurt Angle and Benoit and everybody that was involved. Big Show, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, Matt Hardy, all these great legends that contributed to success of SmackDown. All the cruiserweights, Jamie Noble, Tajiri, Shannon Moore, Ultimo Dragon, all these great people that contributed to SmackDown just being absolute Nunzio, the full-blooded Italians, just that contributed to SmackDown just being absolutely phenomenal TV in the early to mid 2000s. And Rey Mysterio is a large part of this. What a deserving guy to go in the Hall of Fame. He should have his own wing in the Hall of Fame. Very few people should have their own wing, but Rey Mysterio is one of them. He's in the classes with people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ric Flair, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. These once-in-a-lifetime performers that were great for their niche or whatever their style was, and everybody imitated him. Think about how many cruiserweights were inspired and imitated Rey Mysterio. Look at the mask. That's a dead giveaway. Kalisto, Dragon Lee, Fuego. Yeah, Billy Kidman was great. What's up, DST? DST's up in here. Even though he had a relatively short career in WWE, Billy Kidman went on and had a lot of great success as a as a producer, a backstage producer. And it might be something going on with him and Carmella because they're always quite close to each other in photos. And I'm like, it has to be something going on there. But yeah, Rey Mysterio, what an announcement. In an unfortunate I thought this year, 2023, WWE really mishandled the Hall of Fame for the simple fact that we're just not hearing about it now. WrestleMania is about 2.5 weeks away. We're just hearing about WrestleMania. You usually hear about the Hall of Fame in like January of the year that it's happening. They didn't even make the first. Usually the biggest name, like the draw for the Hall of Fame, you hear about like right before the Royal Rumble, at the very latest, right after the Royal Rumble. This year, almost nothing. We already had our suspicions. I would say the smarter community, the real woke community, because people use woke in the wrong way. Woke is when you know what's going on as far as what the powers that be, the type of nefarious deeds that they're doing. That's what woke is. Not this Hollywood crap. Not that. I'm talking about real, what we call enlightenment. The enlightened WWE fans, the aware WWE fans, know what good wrestling is. They know what good TV is. Yes, Vince McMahon has his flaws. He has his issues, and he needs to be taken to justice for all those things he did. However, he is WWE. You cannot have a WWE without Vince McMahon, without his type of take, his input. Not all his ideas are good. I'm not going to say that all his ideas are good because that's false. They're not. They're not even all close to good. However, we cannot deny he's almost the Walt Disney, for good or bad, of WWE. Triple H does not know what a good show needs to look like. His first major show he did alone was SummerSlam. And look how mediocre that production looked. They didn't have no live performances. They didn't have much to let you know they're in Nashville. Yeah, they had a generic guitar-looking logo. but that wasn't quality for your biggest pay-per-view of the summer, as WWE is always crowing about. But these are legends that make you still optimistic to watch WWE. The Rey Mysterios, the Edges, the Cenas, hearing about Batista possibly joining. How apropos and how poetic that two of the greatest SmackDown Tag Team Champions will be going to the Hall of Fame at the same year. If the rumors are true that that Batista is going into the Hall of Fame, which is a good chance he will, because he still speaks pretty positive about Triple H and he was in Evolution and all that type of stuff. If the rumors are true, what a class just with them two alone. Rey Mysterio, Batista, you talk about two of the biggest stars in SmackDown. It's a relatively young history, especially early on when SmackDown was still trying to get his own identity and stand out from Raw, which WWE was clearly trying to push as the main show. These guys made it clear that, yeah, we're different sizes, but we're going to make a very entertaining, very marketable tag team. It helps that they're both Hispanic, too. So they had, a connection there. Rey Mysterio, when you think of the moments that he's had in WWE and how little that they talk about all the charity that he does for, all these Catholic charities and sick children and all his hospital stuff. And his numbers might have surpassed John Cena, but that's not the popular narrative in a white male-driven world. They don't want you to know that Rey Mysterio had just as many Make-A-Wish, if not more, than John Cena. They wanted you to think it's John Cena, just like they want you to think John Cena is a Marine, even though he actually isn't. You bet off saying Randy Orton was a Marine, because he was. And Lacey Evans, who's an ex-MP, who was a tough woman, because they get like pepper sprayed and tasered. It's not for the weak at heart. It's definitely one of those jobs that is only certain people could do. But congratulations nonetheless to Rey Mysterio. I can't speak of positive. I put enough graphics and stuff on the thumbnail for you to see that this man is an amazing performer. Different. He's never had a bad generation. And one of the unique things a lot of people don't talk about Rey Mysterio, he's very rarely wore the same outfit twice. He's always invested money in his look, something that these wrestlers are off wet now. They don't know how to get the big picture or look like the big deal. They just don't understand it. I don't get what they don't get about it, but they're not presenting themselves as stars. The Rock wore the Bruce Lee shirts, the $1 million Hollywood look, the glasses. Sasha Banks, who I really dislike for a lot of different reasons, she understands that part that you have to dress like a star. She got the brass knuckles of jewelry, the $2,000 Versace outfits. That's what a star dress like. You have to act, walk, and talk like a superstar. And a lot of these people aren't good at that. And that's what they think. They think just wrestling and crap like that. I'm so sick of these legends I'm hearing on podcasts that I listen to during the work week. I was just listening to Cafe de Rene, who I was a big fan of Rene Dupree. Rene Dupree, the French phenom, he was a great heel, got a reaction out of people, especially for the age he was. Youngest tag team champion in history at 19 years old. I don't care what they did with that kid at WrestleMania. I'm not counting that. The youngest champion ever, believable tag team champion, great heel, Rene Dupree. He has a podcast called Cafe de Rene. I like it for a lot of reasons, mainly because Rene Dupree is very honest, unlike a lot of people like Road Dogg and Jim Ross and Kurt Angle, all these people that just went soy and don't tell the truth anymore. And I'm not trying to be insulting. That's the truth. Y'all know back in the day, y'all would have scolded these wrestlers for these awful spots in psychology or lack thereof in their matches. So Cafe de Rene, I'm hearing Jake the Snake Roberts on there yesterday. He told me, man, these wrestlers don't have psychology, man. And I was agreeing with him. They don't have psychology. Then he went on right after that and contradicted themselves and said, if people want to see a good match, watch Daniel Bryan. Get the hell out of here, man. Daniel Bryan's a tough guy, and he's had a flashes in the pan moments, but he is not a person that you say look at if you want to see a believable match. Nobody cares that he throws good kicks and all that because he looks like a bum. Nobody's going to ever pay money to see Daniel Bryan in a plain T-shirt. They should have made him the psychotic environmentalist where he was produced him like Vince Russo would have, where he's at meat stores screaming at people through a bullhorn about how they're a hypocrite and they're going to hell for eating meat and defacing God's animals. That's how you produce a character like that. Not this crap that they're doing in AEW. You don't produce a character that he's just, I'm just another guy. It don't help that he has this scraggly beard, this hair. Like, he looks like an annoying person that you'll smack in the street because they're standing in your way when you're trying to get on the subway or something. He's not a marketable look. So Jake Roberts, stick it. You messed up on that one. I was with you, so you said that. And Lapdog trying to put over Damage Control, these awful, disgusting looking women that are killing the ratings on Raw. And for whatever reason, WWE doesn't want to accept it. WWE has to be one of the most peculiar shows I've ever watched in my life for the simple fact that they're just convinced that this stuff works, that nobody wants to watch. They got all these women. They keep giving them feature themed shows and Queen of the Ring. And we already know they're not going to do crap with it. They're going to put it on one of the worst women ever with no charisma. They're probably going to get one of those NXT UK women or something that nobody knows. They're probably not going to be attractive, and that's who's going to get the crown. It don't help that this crap's in Saudi Arabia. So it's going to be, you probably got to wake up early. I'm not, even if I'm off work and I'm awake, I'm not going to watch that show. I'm not watching a Saudi Arabia show. I'll watch after the fact. You know what I mean? Because I'm not about to sit through all this fluff and this promotional stuff, and I'm not going to do it. It's not the same thing. You already know those fans are going to cheer for everything because their entertainment is 20 years behind on the time. So they're entertained by anything. They're just happy to get from under that, that iron fist of rule of everyday treachery that they have to deal with and trudging in Saudi Arabia. So they think everything's good. So that's not a good barometer of success with a show like that. So the Queen of the Ring and all that, WWE's convinced that their women are entertaining, even though they got rid of the only legit current woman that they had, named Mandy Rose, the woman that got $1 million in 2 weeks for putting up hot pictures online. You get rid of people like that. I thought this was a marketing company. No, it's a company far removed of the great stars like Rey Mysterio. He's exempt from what I'm talking about, and a lot of other people I've made great videos about. But now we're going into the smack part. I'm sorry, Ray, that we got to bring down your celebration with this nonsense, but it's called SmackTalk-TV, so we got to do it justice. And they're convinced that these awful women that aren't marketable in any way, especially Bayley, is over right now. And they keep giving them spots, and nobody wants to see it. This is going to be one of the most underwhelming WrestleManias in a very long time. Thank God people like Rey Mysterio, John Cena, and who else can I think of right now? Maybe Edge are going to have watchable segments. Brock Lesnar is going to get in and out in probably 5 minutes. We've seen his best work prior to this, I'm sure. Bobby Lashley, that's going to be is what it is. He's probably going to lose, and he's going to need a desperate reset. He's probably going to have to get, detox after working with a talentless hack like Bray Wyatt, who should be a draw because he has an interesting concept. He just don't know how to execute it. He doesn't bother to keep himself in shape. Now, you could be a big guy, but you still got to look kind of marketable a little bit. He doesn't. Like a big-ass pinball machine or something. But, excuse me. So, SmackDown was god-awful yesterday. Absolutely awful. The only thing going into the show that I was slightly interested in, because I think they had Karrion Kross or LA Knight, I forget, it was one of the two, which I like both of them. There are two of the few actual believable people across wrestling in general right now, is the Intercontinental title match. Oh, it's LA Knight. That's who was in it. So, you had McIntyre, Sheamus, Xavier Woods, Cross. Oh, they both were in it. Karrion Kross and LA Knight. Fatal 5-way for the number one contender for the Intercontinental title. They did this whack-ass double pin crap with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. You can't name two of the most awful performers of any era than Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Whoever asked to see these people? You think this is the savior or what WWE needs in this awful standing right now? We're in WrestleMania season, and WrestleMania is barely trending. It's 9,000 tweets about WrestleMania. That is absolutely absurd. The Super Bowl will be like 100 times that if this was Super Bowl season, which just passed last month. This is god-awful. And it's Johnny Knoxville's, when was his birthday? Today. Today is Johnny. Happy birthday, Johnny Knoxville. Speaking of which, he was the best part of WrestleMania in Dallas last year. Then these foolish people didn't bring him back for SummerSlam, which was in this home state of Tennessee. His name's Johnny Knoxville. That's why I call him that. They were in Nashville, which is not too far from Knoxville, and they didn't even bother to use this guy. The foolish management of this company is baffling to me. Cannot believe how unprofessional these people are. It's absolutely ridiculous. But SmackDown was awful. And a large part of it is because you had a heavily featured angle with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus on Fox, a major network like Fox that has the NFL on it, or at one point it did. And you have these people that nobody ever heard of, and you expect people to care. Now, if you want to be smart, you should have put it on somebody marketable like LA Knight. And he could have taught this boring hack who's the current Intercontinental champion, Gunther, however the hell you say his name, how to be a star. Because he sure as hell don't know how to be one. Triple H and his regime, those fools don't know how to make him one. How did LA Knight, who's real nice, he has a real name that's cool. Usually I don't like people with regular names because it's not very marketing appealing. LA Knight's real name is Sean Richter. That's actually a cool last name. They should have called him that over this god-awful LA Knight crap. LA Knight. Then these foolish assholes had the audacity to spell it Knight like he's going to come out with a sword and a metal suit on. They spelled it Knight instead of Nite. You damn fools. Can you do anything right? This used to be the epitome of sports entertainment and dramatic writing. It's awful now. And they think it's okay. Then you have these impressionable young crowd say, oh, it's good. That's because you have no basis of comparison because you didn't grow up with good television to watch. You didn't grow up with good TV to compare it to. I'm sorry, but I grew up in an era where everything in pop culture was pretty good. In some cases, really great. I refuse to say this crap is good just because that's what people want to hear. I'm not going to do it. That's why I want a more cutting edge, honest podcast on the air, whether people want to believe it or not. And I'm a lot more marketable than you think I am. It's just these woke SJW big six companies like Google try to cancel people that don't follow their bullshit narrative. That's what the issue is. That's what the problem is. I could be easy and just, bite my tongue and be a sellout, and I can get all the unworthy, unrecognized, undeserving, really, credit that a lot of these boring-ass YouTubers get. And a lot of them are British, and half the time they don't know what they're talking about. They copy and paste other people's work. They've stolen stuff from me. They're not going to tell you, but they have. And I've written stuff. I've helped people with storylines in other companies before. I'm friends with a lot of wrestlers that I've helped out with creative. Hey, dude, I see what you're doing, but let me add this or that to your thing. People see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear with me. I'm sorry that it's the truth. And then they don't put my stuff towards the top search engine because it doesn't follow the narrative, just like a lot of my friends who have a lot more followers than me, but they get treated the same way. My go-to is Twitch. That's why I'm really banging at, which I'm going through some somewhat legal stuff with them, but this is going to get handled. So this is what the issue with this is right here. Rey Mysterio is part of a bygone era that unfortunately we might not ever get again. Let's see what else we had on this awful card. Smackdown, I should say show. When Mysterio announced that he's going to the Hall of Fame, that's awesome. He's interrupted by Judgment Day, which he should be because his son's in that group. After Dominic, Mysterio rolled up Cruz following a super kick. I think Rey Mysterio helped him. So he's going to give the rub to Legado del Fantasma. There's nothing wrong with that. This is probably the most noteworthy thing that happened on SmackDown. Rey Mysterio announcing going into the Hall of Fame. That's all that mattered. All this other crap doesn't matter. We're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. You got 2,000, whatever I just said, 9,000 people talking about WrestleMania. That is awful. When WWE is a global, multi-district company. It's a global company. You got 9,000 people talking about it. That is awful. And I refuse to call it anything else. I refuse to compromise my integrity and dignity for a bunch of people that don't matter, that just want to cancel stuff. This is goddamn awful that there's only 9,000 people talking about this. As I said, I don't even know if John Cena and Rey Mysterio are going to be here to help this show. This is going to be one of the worst shows ever. I'm positive it will be. And more people need to talk about it. It's not nearly enough to people giving WWE and Triple H crap for how bad his product is right now. They always Papa H. But how? His interest in Impact Wrestling and recruiting from New Japan. That tells you everything you need to know that he's a fool and he's not ready to take over this company. His goal is to be liked by online fans who's barely been watching wrestling long enough to know how it should be presented. That's the type of audience that he wants to cater to. And nobody can ever tell me, ever, why and how Triple H is qualified to take over this company. How? What credentials does he have? You better off giving a company to Vince Russo and have somebody do the money because you don't want to be like another ECW with Paul Heyman where it's all good creative and no business sense. I would rather Vince Russo or Shane McMahon Nick Khan can take over this company before goddamn Triple H. You can let Triple H have NXT and ruin that. Matter of fact, he's so obsessed with it being a third brand, let him have it. Let him have that, and I just won't have to watch NXT. Bring up all the talented people, the NIL programs he currently got there, the Odyssey Jones, the Nikita Lions, the Lash Legends, the Chase Hughes. Who's else really good? Toxic Attraction. Bring them all up to the main roster and let him flood that crap with all those British people. I just won't watch it. That'll make it easier for me. The mainstream roster is supposed to look like the mainstream roster. And this is something that WWE is really struggling with right now. It is goddamn awful with this show. It's absolutely awful. And they need to improve it. Raw was awful. I don't even remember what happened. That's how bad it was. I know something about Bloodline or something. That was it. Other than Carmella and Bianca looking like stars being in the ring with each other, I'm sure it was maybe one other thing. Other than that, who cares? I think so. Cena was there. Cena was the most noteworthy thing that happened on Raw. Nothing mattered. Nothing's been relevant on Raw in a long time. The biggest news been on Raw is Vince McMahon coming back. That's it. It's usually controversy and negative stuff, infamous news. That's what people are talking about. I refuse to be dishonest with this crap. I refuse. The truth needs to be said. That's why these people are complacent and they don't want to change anything because nobody's making them do it. That's what the issue is. It's not all this other crap that they want you to believe it is. This was a goddamn awful. It doesn't help that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, God knows where. I think Ronda might be dealing with a slight injury. But when she's ready, automatically put these tag team titles on these women because nobody else is qualified to have it right now. You want to get instant, as Christian would say, instant classic and instant draws in your show, put the tag titles on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. But let Ronda carry most stuff. They might need a mouthpiece, maybe Paul Heyman, because they're not that great of a talker, either one. Just let them in the background look menacing and intimidating. Good enough. 3 other things that improve Raw, definitely. But probably the overall likability of WWE. Bring back the 24/7 title, bra and panties matches, and you have to bring in some type of squash type match. But definitely bra and panties and 24/7. I had something that I tweeted out earlier. I can't think of it right now. But you need to bring these things back. A more adult and blood, for God's sake, not every week, but in big storylines. And stagger your roster. Don't have everybody on every week so you can get burned out on them. Or maybe make Raw and SmackDown one show again. If you're not going to have a good draft, make it one show. Release a ton of people. I already talked. They have released some, but they need to release more and send a lot of people back. Damage Control needs to be in NXT. Johnny Gargano should be fired if you're not going to put him back in NXT. Bronson Reed needs to be sent to NXT or fired. It is these Candice LeRae. I like Candice LeRae personally, but she has no business being on Raw. I'm sorry, she does not. She doesn't have an identifiable character. You can't imitate what she's doing. She's got this weird purple hair. I guess these nerds that watch it now get it, or this niche, anime crowd. But you're supposed to be catering to the hardcore or the casual fans, not the hardcore. The hardcore is going to whine, complain, threaten to cancel the network, and still be there. Those are not the people that you want to focus your show on. You want to focus your show on people who are, that you can actually market to. And that's not what's happening right now at all. So this is what's going on. WWE is in awful shape, but congratulations to Rey Mysterio. Multiple time champion everywhere he went. Got over everybody he's ever worked with. Real global star, real life superhero. Great man. Philanthropic beyond belief. Trying to help his son get over. That's why he's working a good program right now. I hope at some point him and Karrion Kross, hopefully at SummerSlam, I would love to see Karrion Kross versus Rey Mysterio at some time. You're talking about an old school villain versus babyface, superhero versus villain. Rey Mysterio is the obvious superhero, and Karrion Kross supervillain. They don't make this no more. God bless the good old times of great wrestling. Congratulations to Rey Mysterio. Hopefully we get some other good names like Stacey Keibler, as I said, Batista, and I'll talk to y'all soon, man. Peace. Check out everything. It's TJ Time 1991 on Twitter. It's TJ Time 1991 on Twitter. All lowercase letter. It's TJ Time 1991. YouTube on Twitter, TJ the Prodigy, which I'm called the Prodigy, or TJ. All lowercase letters, TJ the Prodigy. I'll talk to y'all soon. Congratulations to Rey Mysterio. Booyakah!